What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And before we get into anything, this video was supposed to be us disassembling the race car and making it back to just stripping of all the good stuff and then just getting rid of it. But unfortunately, I've been pretty busy and me making this video. So from today, you guys watching this today as I'm recording it. And I have 2 weeks till the next event, so I figured might as well let the car sit for another 2 weeks and just do the last session of the year, which I feel like is going to be good for us because I think there's 7 for the year. We did 3 of them back to back to back, which is pretty good. So we're not going to work on that car today. We're going to work on the neglected one. And sorry if this 0.5 stuff is not great. I misplaced my camera adapter at the track, so I gotta look for that. But before I started recording, I just wanted to come in and just put the torque mounts on. They had just been sitting for a little while, and I had to let this phone charge, so I figured I'd do something in the meantime. So that one, I bolted it in. You guys can even see it. Where is it? Somewhere over there, but I just bolted it in because I left the brace that goes into the transmission, that's at home. So I just put that up just to make sure the bolts lined up and everything, which if you guys saw me put this car together, you know that that's one of the main points that we use to kind of measure it in. However, on this side, you see the mount right here. This is the mount, it's stainless, so it's not the paint. So that's, or polished or whatever. That's the mount. There's a gap here for some odd reason. And this is the AC bracket where that goes onto. And this one is bolted in, all the way through. But I don't know if it's just me. I know it's not just me, but see if I get you guys kind of a better angle. But it looks like it's like this way, It's not straight like that. It looks like it's this way. And I know for a fact because when I bolted this in, it started walking this way. Which is a big deal, especially, being that the car is kind of welded, holding it that way, because this is where the weld is. This is where we join them together, and we don't have anything kind of holding it up here to this, which thinking back, I should have probably welded a plate here on the sides, which I could still do. I mean, we're not using these 2 little bolts, but I could put like a little thin piece of metal here, probably like 1/4 inch metal, and weld it, and then just probably undercoat it at this point. And same thing here. I'd have to shape it to follow this contour better, but I feel like putting that there and then welding it on both sides is gonna hold the 2 pieces together rather than just butt welding it. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about that. I'm just, being that this is a car that we're probably not gonna keep, I also kind of worry about the longevity of this car. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, or what other ways we could stabilize this, because unfortunately, from what I've known, there's nothing that goes from the frame rail here back to the strut tower or anything like that to hold it in. And now to the real reason we're here. And last video we made a disaster of the brake situation. I just don't want to play with that anymore. So I figured while the parts car still outside, we take the spindles front and rear and put them on here. Initially we had the 5 lug we were going to put on this car, and the rear trailing arms are still up here. But, we don't really have, you guys don't really know what I'm saying. I gotta stop saying that. But I don't have any spare 5 lug wheels, and these things look pretty beat. All things considered, it's all pretty rusty there. The parts car, let's go out there and look at those. Those are in very good condition. And 4x100, I do have another set of wheels I could throw on this. The blue wheels that were on the race car last year, and also on the back, the 2 blue wheels are put on the back of the other car. Those are NKR PL1s. I have 4 of them, so I just gotta get 2 tires. But either way, these things are in much better shape. So I could literally take this off in a quick minute and just bolt this up to that car, and we could eventually bring the wheels here, and the car will we could potentially put the car on the ground. So this is kind of going to be sort of a decent effort. I mean, the front's easy, the rear's kind of annoying because we're gonna have to go in the car and disconnect the e-brake cables, which, looking back, I sold the 4-lug off of that other car because, you know, I bought it, just had to make sense of the purchase. So I sold that to make most of the money back, and now I'm just redoing everything again. But it has been 3 years, so and this car is destined for the junkyard. So let's start getting this stuff done. The first thing I went to do after setting the car height and lighting was the e-brake cables. I was not expecting them to be installed because I was pretty sure we just kind of threw things together. Unfortunately, they were mounted to the e-brake handle, but with the car on the lift, the door gap was tiny and I could barely get my arm in there. So I improvised and removed the front bolts off the door so I could fit my arm in there. Back under the car, I was able to quickly remove the e-brake cables, undo the half-tightened bolts, and just like that, they were both off. Well, that took a little bit longer than expected. And honestly, removing the trailing arms was the fastest thing. The biggest problem was opening this door on the lift here and getting to the e-brake cables through this little gap. I probably should kind of wire wheel all this stuff and undercoat it, but I don't think I will, just because we're on such a tight deadline that we need to move on. So let's go outside and remove the parts from the other car. That one should be a little harder just because the e-brake cables do have these annoying 12s. Pretty hard to get to. But besides that, I'll take those all that off and bring it back in here and then assemble everything, because we need to get this car on the ground, just because I've been hoarded. Basically, since cousin Andy's car's been out of here, this car's been up on the lift. So since bare minimum of June or probably May, this car's just been sitting here with all the front end stuff, and now the engine, and now the suspension. So I at least want to get this suspension in so we can get the car on the ground, and we could move the car on and off the lift in case anybody else needs it, or we can use it for another project. All right, I got all my tools that I'll need right here, and I'm about to start a stopwatch. Let's see how fast I can get this done. Starting now. I completely had forgotten that cousin Gary and I just threw the front end together after the 8-hour challenge. The front end was a breeze. Passenger side was done in 10 minutes, driver side was done in 5. The rear was a little more involved, but also flew by. Including removing the rear ABS sensors and unhooking the e-brake cables, I finished the passenger side in 20 minutes and the driver side in 10. 49 minutes. I'm a freaking beast. But the car is halfway taken apart. We already took the front end apart, and I already just did it in the inside, so I'm very familiar. But 50 minutes, less than an hour is pretty good. So here it is. You know, we don't need to go over it again. Just stock 4-lug front and rear suspension. Something's wrong with that caliper that I don't know if we spoke about in the last video, but that's out of another car, so we'll have to replace that one caliper, but everything else is ready to go. And the bushings, well, the bushings don't look the greatest. What about this one's? Yeah, the bushings. I'd say the bushings are shot. This thing has 350,000 miles. So now, back inside and get this thing in, locked and loaded as fast as we can go. We're just gonna hand tighten these because we have to take this apart again for the axles and to finish the brake lines anyway. So we're not gonna permanently affix these just because there's still a decent amount of work to be done. This is more or less just to get this thing back on the ground. Ready. These tops could probably use new ball joints. I mean, the ball joints look good, but I don't know. I feel like this whole build was a bunch of steps forward and a bunch of steps backwards. All right, the fronts are in. Did that one. Woo. You know what they say? A tight thread, the cross thread is a tight thread. All right, those bad boys are in too. Woo, okay. Ah. All right, guys. Driver side rear in. Driver front in. Onto the passenger side. Passenger front in. Passenger rear in. Now, is it the best way possible? No, but we're unfortunately gonna have to go back into this. And right now, we're just trying to get this thing on the ground so we can roll in and out so other people can use the lift. In a later video, when we really try to get this thing up and going, we're gonna do a bolt check, clean, undo the suspension, wire wheel, just undercoat quickly. We're gonna take care of this thing the proper way. It's just right now, we just need to get this thing off the lift because other people need to use this, and it's not fair that I just have a car sitting here for 6 months at a time. So with that being said, guys, make sure to comment down below, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure you turn on the notification bell because next video we're deciding what race car we're using for the 2026 race season. Till then, see you guys on the next one. Peace.